Hello, everyone. This is Tom, your host for the Hidden Truths channel. How is everybody doing this evening? Well, I guess I better have a live stream tonight about the Trump assassination and the assassinations that, him and Netanyahu have done. So we're going to talk about that tonight because I'm going to take a little bit of a different perspective on everybody else that's all excited about it. Okay? Anyway, I realize I gotta wait for a few minutes for the notifications to go out. If you want to skip ahead to about 4 minutes, we'll get in the subject, but I gotta sit there, wait for a few people to show up. We're gonna talk about my channel. This channel of mine has been extremely shadow banned. I realize that I'm rough around the edges, you might say, in today's world. But you know why that is? Because when I was growing up, nobody ever cut me any slack, even from when I was a little kid. I never got cut any slack. I never was allowed to have an excuse. I got told the blunt truth, whether I liked it or not. That's the way kids were raised back then, and I seemed to got an extra dose of it. All through my life, challenged, always, I wasn't allowed to have an excuse to be the weak link. I never allowed to be the weak link. And all I got to hear is truth all my life. Excuse me, up into the Marine Corps, and even after, even at my old age, I'm never given any slack. I got to perform with the 20-year-olds, but whatever. So I may be a little rough around the edges for some people, especially, the owners of these social media conglomerates, right? These social media platforms. I may be a little rough around the edges, but they want to hide the truth. That's why we have so many problems in today's world, because the truth isn't allowed to be told. And when the truth is told, the people like me, we're covered up, censored. Go back to the COVID time, when channels like mine were trying to warn people, don't do it. The Nuremberg Code. You don't have to do this crap. Not this channel. That channel got canceled for a little bit. By the way, we were trying to warn people, but we were silenced. Silenced. Okay? So you weren't allowed to hear the truth. All you were allowed to hear what the narrative was, that everything's okay. The COVID vaccine was the first vaccine that never had a side effect. You watch a drug commercial on TV, and the last 30 seconds are about side effects. But the COVID never had a side effect, right? But now it's got a black label because it can hurt people. All those people that got injured or death. Families can't sue the pharmaceutical companies because you were a lab rat. But, they wanted to shut our channels out, trying to explain to people, no, according to the Nuremberg Code, you don't have to take that vaccine. The Nuremberg Code protects you from medical tyranny, all citizens of the world. And the United States adopted the Nuremberg Code, so you're protected. Go read the 10 Principles once. Find out how many of our politicians should be in prison for wars, crimes against humanity. Operation Warp Speed was crimes against humanity. Anyway, they want to shut my channel down. So if you're here, please subscribe, hit the thumbs up, check out my other content, and share it. Because there's a world of hurt coming down, and we're going to get into a part of it right now with assassinations. Okay? Yeah, the White House correspondent dinner last night. There were shots fired. Everybody's seen the videos and stuff. And you got channels out there that are saying it's fake, it's real. I'm not going to get into that. Assassinations happen. Security breaches happen. I'm still wondering how all these people can sit there and walk around D.C. with guns and stuff. I thought that was like the whole city was a gun-free zone. But whatever, I'm not going to get into that. What I want to get into is assassinations. How do you think you people would feel today if you are an idiot? Thank you. I appreciate it. Appreciate the comment. You guys can try to insult me all you want. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And if that's best comment you can make that shows your intelligence level, you probably don't belong here. I've seen you on the grinders also. I've seen you on Grinder also. What do you, I don't even know what Grinder is. Anyway, but let's get into the assassination. Could you imagine if last night that would have been a gunman, but that would have been a missile from Iran that hit that building, killed everybody in it after Iran had deceived us through negotiations that whatever, dude. Benjamin, do I need to delete you from the chat? I will do that, but whatever. I believe you have freedom of speech, but don't have freedom to be stupid. But anyway, how would you feel right now? Well, you'd be pissed. We would definitely be a nation that would go to war, not surrender, right? Now, what happened on February 28th in Iran? Okay? We took out their leader, assassinated. And the thing about it is even Carolyn Levitt the other day was laughing about, oh, we don't even know who's in charge now because we destroyed all their political leaders and stuff. And they're laughing about it. They think it's a big fucking joke. So when they got the supreme leader that night, or that first day of the attack, they also killed the 6-month-old granddaughter. But what's the difference? We killed 160 plus girls from the age of 6 to 12 at a school, double tapped the school. Bro, just shut up and go back to on Grinder. This is the thing. This is my freedom of speech, bitch. You don't fucking like it? I don't really care. The best thing about you, Benjamin, you're making my analytics better. So please keep commenting. Please stay and do your troll ass shit. I'm loving it. Okay? I'm loving it. Believe me. This is a place for everybody. Because believe me, even trolls one day are going to find out that they're on the sinking Titanic. And then all these people that they sat there and tried to get under their skin on YouTube. And I realize some people react. They're going to be coming to us saying, help, help. How do I sit there and get through this? By the way, that day's coming. And like the Lord, I'll accept you whenever you want to come. Whenever you wake the fuck up. Because you're a human being too. And when things actually get bad in this country, like, when Washington, D.C. starts looking like Tel Aviv and stuff, a lot of Americans are going to find out that we have more important fish to fry than try to insult people on social media platforms. Like I say, I'm serious here. I really don't care. If all you can do is insult, and that's the best you can do, your intelligence level probably isn't too high enough to sit there and interpret this content. Bro is on. Anyway, I don't even know what Grinder is. Whatever. I'm old fashioned. I live out here and you fly over country where we have counties that have less than, 1,500 people in. It's pretty much all rural, where you have 5 cops in the whole county and stuff. That's where I live. So you people all enjoy your big city. Anyway, but getting down to the assassination. Okay, we're going over these other countries and just shock and awe. In World War II, yeah, they did have Operation Foxley 1 and Foxley 2 to kill Hitler and top German generals and top people in the government and stuff, but they never went through with it. Got to look it up. Operation Foxley 2. Pretty interesting. But, they didn't do it. And this was what? 5 years into the war? Anyway, so we're assassinating, like I say, our president didn't say they assassinated him. And it's okay. I guess if Trump and Netanyahu to get together and decide they're going to assassinate a world leader, it's just okay. What kind of world do we fucking live in? Well, Trump and Netanyahu are setting precedents. Because I guess if we ever go to war with Russia or China, well, I guess they can off our leadership too, because it's okay now. All they got to do is sign the death warrant of Trump in China, and that covers out Trump is dead, right? That's how it works. Yeah, I'm glad nobody got hurt yesterday. Like I say, I don't know if it was set up. It was, lots of questions. In today's world, we're constantly lied to by the government. Everybody questions everything because you can't believe nothing. And a lot of this stuff is so far-fetched. I just don't know I know the quality of everything has gone down. And as an American, you can see that. The quality of everything has gone down. And obviously with the Secret Service, it's the same thing. I mean, when they surrounded Trump and took him off the stage, I'm looking at it, looked like the Keystone fucking cops. Okay? And one thing that I want to say I noticed was when they took J.D. Vance out, whether it's because he heard the shots and they knew they were going to come get him, but he looked like, anyway, he looked like he was about ready to take off on a sprinting race. Anyway, he's in his chair, looked like he was at the ready. I don't know what's happening. I was in the Navy too. Yeah, I was in the Marine Corps. I've spent some time on the ships. The USS Austin, USS Guadalcanal. Remember the first time when I had my float jacket, had my Liberty cuffs on and stuff, I had some sailor come and try to start shit with me. Never been to sea before. What are you wearing Liberty cuffs for? I said, I have more ship time than you do, fool. Anyway, but this assassination stuff. I mean, I really don't care one way or the other. The thing is, D.C., oh my God, if Trump were to get taken out, he'd get replaced by J.D. Vance, who I thought used to be a great guy, just because he was a Marine, just because he started his adult life out like I did, in those little yellow footprints. But I can see he's a sellout, like the rest of them. So we get him. And then they go around, I guess this will save the poor guy from the draft if the world leaders just start killing each other off. Oh, we'll bomb them first, try to take them out. But like I say, after what we did to Iran, deceived them with negotiations, Friday's over, we'll be back Monday to continue negotiations. And then I guarantee you one of the first hits was probably on the Ayatollah. Killed him. Who cares if you have collateral damage right when you get who you want? Like I say, a 6-month-old baby girl. No remorse for that. Nobody in D.C. has remorse for that. No, they're bragging about it. Think it's a great fucking thing. Remember that, America. When they do that to the Trump administration, remember it's a great fucking thing. At least some people in the country are thinking that. But after we did that to Iran, and then the thinking is Iran's just going to give up. After the new Ayatollah just lost his baby daughter, his dad, and a lot of people he knew and cared about, he probably, with the missile strikes, they probably took out 3/4 of the people he associates with. Could you imagine losing 3/4 of your friends and your associates all in a matter of hours? And then you think, we're just going to give up. We surrender. Are you freaking nuts? I mean, I don't realize if Americans realize this, but when you hurt somebody, they all feel anger and vengeance the same. And when you attack a nation, let me tell you something. I could be fighting with a Marine in a bar. Let's say him and I are going at it. And one of the civilians decides to get into it and knocks one of the guys around. All those Marines are going to come together at that point and knock the shit out of that guy, no matter what their fucking differences were at that time. Okay? Just like after 9/11. Do you remember any really differences that Americans felt between each other in the months after that? Does anybody remember any differences that we argued about or fought about like we did now? Or after Pearl Harbor? Well, they took it out on the Japanese. Trump is a genius. Well, so was Hitler. Greatest military commander of all times, Keitel said. Okay, he's a genius. How much you paying for gas again? How much you paying for food? How much does one bag of groceries cost you now? $50? Whatever. Doesn't sound like a genius to me. He's an assassin. Yes, Trump and Netanyahu are assassins. They went out directly to assassinate and said they have admitted that they assassinated a foreign leader. Now, if I were to do that, I'd be sitting in jail. But I guess if you're Trump or a higher up or somebody that believes they're fucking God or Jesus, they could just have their control over every human being, whether they live or die on this planet. America's fucking sick. For us not to have stood up to this, and then people, like I say, the excitement of the Trump supposed what went on last night in Washington. Okay, like I say, I'm not getting into whether it was fake or real. Everything's fucking fake these days. The stock market's fake. The pharmaceutical companies are fake. Everything's fake, because they want to hide you from reality. Because if you wake up and got slapped by reality, well, let's just say we wouldn't have a government in charge right now. Okay? Yeah, that's one thing I say about the Constitution. That's a contract between the people for the government, federal government, to exist. So if the Constitution's outdated and no longer valid, then that means our federal government can no longer exist because it no longer has any authority. Any authority that the federal government gets comes from the Constitution, which is granted from us. And that was another thing about that dinner. I'm looking at that, right? And I'm like, boy, all the rich hobnobs. I mean, did you realize that you probably wouldn't have fit in that fucking room? Not even if you would have been invited, you would have fit in. Do you realize they live in a different world than us? I love that meal. The meal never got eaten, right? I wonder how much taxpayer money got splurged on a meal of high dollar food that never got eaten. Bunch of crap. But like I say, do you think you fit in? What do you see there? Well, I've seen the Hunger Games. Not quite as theatrical as that, but there's definitely a class difference. DC is definitely becoming a castle for the king. The whole fucking place is. I mean, got rid of the homeless. No more sleeping across from the White House. Still got the military in the streets. That hasn't changed. That was only going to last 30 days, right? Remember when I got hit on YouTube? These people, it's only going to last 30 days. Okay. But he's got his own little green zone like they had in Iraq. His own little place of power. It's no longer the people's house. Okay, it's no longer the people's, if you want to call it the people's city. It's the fucking swamp, okay? Anyway, I guess he tore down part of the White House. I guess we must start from scratch with that too, right? Anyway, that should have been something when he tore that down. That should have been a vote referendum. That's a people's house. He just went and did it. Do you suffer from a brain injury in the Marines? Just curious. No. See, this is the average civilian doesn't fucking understand. What it takes to turn somebody into a fucking killer that will charge bullets. Do you understand the difference between that and the average fucking civilian? Do I have a brain injury? No, I've been extremely brainwashed, you dumb fools. The Marine Corps is different than any other service, especially if you're on the ground side. Okay? Like I say, they take your governor when you go until you should have died. You just keep going. They take your governor and throw it the fuck out the door. All you people that say, I can't. You see restrictions and stop signs and all this other shit. That's not us. We keep going fucking forward, no matter what's in our way. And that's a problem with the average civilian. Oh, this is all I can say to you. When you got the enemy coming down your fucking street, and you got all your beta males that are in your yard that are going to protect you, they're hiding behind you. That's when you're going to call us crazy ass vets to come save your fucking sorry ass. When Americans see what war is, okay? When what's happening in Israel and Iran, in Ukraine, when we start experiencing that here, and the average American wakes the fuck up and actually has got to see stuff that I've seen and experience stuff that I've seen, and the thing is, you're not trained or experienced to deal with it. And that's when you'll be calling us. Come save us. Come save us. And you know the thing is, we'll unselfishly be right there to fucking do it. Because we're Marines. We're vets. We're the Army. We're the Air Force. We're the Navy. And we're going to be there. Because when we took that oath, it was to the Constitution, to protect the Constitution. Yeah, take orders from the president, lawful orders. But it was also to the American people. And not just people that agree with you. I'm sorry. I realize that in today's world, even back then, not everybody agrees with everybody. I mean, that would be pure communism. But, everybody's different. That's what makes this country so great. You were allowed to pursue your happiness, even if you were the first one fucking doing it. And everybody told you were crazy. And you pursued your happiness and became successful. See, like I say, a lot of people see too many stop signs in front of their face. Oh my God, stop sign. I know I can't get by that. If I do, I need help, right? Everybody always needs help. All trying to figure out the point attempting to be made. Anyway, the point being made is that there are some American, that some of us Americans are a little bit more patriotic than other ones. Some of us are a little bit more tougher than the other ones. Okay? So, but yeah, are Marines crazy? No fucking shit, Sherlock. What was your first clue? I watch these reactionary videos, especially the Saving Private Ryan, right? The beach landing. Even though it was tactically right, they had the beach obstacles backwards and stuff. There were errors in it, okay? But they're watching, nobody does no fucking thing about the military, never shot a rifle in their life, especially never been shot at, are watching this video, right? And the first thing they go, oh my God, is it really happening? This is crazy. Yeah! That's what war is. My grandfather was on that beach. Not having a very good fucking Sunday. But the sacrifices of our older generation, I guess the younger generation doesn't want to learn the lessons from that. So that's why we got endless wars and endless vets. This country has created a lot of vets over the last 35 years. So 36 years now it's going on already. Oh my God. The first Gulf War was 36 years ago. And we've been at war ever since. What is your major malfunction? I love it when my moderators aren't here because, like I say, boy, you get these trolls in and the insults. I mean, do you think it really affects me? Insults only hurt somebody who aren't sure of themselves, aren't confident with themselves, who don't know themselves. It maybe ain't exactly a moral person. That's who insults hurt. Somebody who sits there and looks in the mirror every day, tries to be a better person tomorrow than he was today, and lives that type of lifestyle, does good deeds and stuff, insults really don't, it just like, you feel sorry for them people. They're so, well, YouTube shut me down. They always do this. Anyway, you got to feel sorry for the trolls. They're living a miserable life and they don't know how to get out of it. And when they see somebody has confidence and, ain't afraid to sit there and say what's on their mind and stuff, well, they get a little bent out of shape, okay? It's, we all have a life we live. And if you choose not to challenge yourself, not to sit there, I don't want to say expose yourself to danger. I'm not saying everybody needs to be in the military, but challenge yourself. And when you achieve something, challenge yourself some more. Where you never become complacent, where this is all I can do. And that's what a lot of these people do. I mean, you think YouTube, I've been on here 2.5 years. Do you think I'm just dealing with from the trolls? I dealt with it my whole life. With people that felt inferior to me and they took it out in a different way. The thing is, when I find somebody that's better than me at something, I learn from them. I'm not upset with them because they're better than me. I learn from them. They become my teacher. So I'm always learning. Anyway, and like I say, every time, especially at our age, every time you learn something new, learn a new skill, learn something you didn't know in high school, whatever, explore a new subject, you feel better about yourself. So anyway, but mom is rent out of shape. Anyway, like I said, everybody that's insulting me, why don't you go check out my other content? Why don't you just check out I got lots of shorts on there. They ain't gonna take you long. Watch a minute's worth of shorts. Okay? Whatever. Some people are miserable in this world and they want to bring everybody else down. And some people, they just can't. Okay? And those are the ones, if they saw me on the street walking with my confidence and stuff, they can't come face to face with you. They're a bunch of fucking cowards. But they're big in their mama's basement eating their Skittle and peanut butter bread that mama cut the crusts off of. Anyway, some of us lived a good life. I've lived 5 lifetimes already in the short time I've been on this earth. And some of them never even lived 1 lifetime. So, challenge yourself and ain't afraid to sit there and see what's over the next hill, over the next mountain. And you're always out there looking and stuff. And, like the horses behind me and stuff. That's my retirement behind me. Okay? Got the horses. Like I say, check out my shorts. Simple man with simple pleasures. Everybody that needs the bells and whistles, you guys stay in the city because we don't even have a Starbucks out here. Skittles and peanut butter. Wasn't that from Bench Warmers? Isn't that the sandwich you ordered from that robot? I don't remember. That was a pretty good movie. By the way, appreciate everybody being here. Please hit that thumbs up, subscribe, and bell notification, and check out my other content and share it. Like I say, it may ruffle your feathers or it may ruffle somebody else's feathers. But you know what? We can no longer... We need some truth out there. Just like yesterday. Nobody knows what the fucking truth is. There's lots of... I seen stuff. I'm not going to get into it. Whether it be staged or not, we got corrupt people in D.C. Would they do something like that? Absolutely, because January 6th was fucking staged with the Capitol. I'm not talking the protest was staged. I'm talking what they did to push the protest, whatever. Antifa being there, breaking out windows, that type of shit. Instigators getting hotheads crazy. Okay, it's staged. Back in World War II, Roosevelt knew Pearl Harbor was going to get bombed, but he did nothing about it because we need to be drawn into the war. Okay, so we were complacent. We were reading the Japanese messages before Japan was. We had magic that had deciphered the Japanese code already before the war even started. Or can we go to 9/11? Did our government know it was happening and just decide to stand by and allow it to happen? I don't know. There's all these questions and stuff. Remember, we were supposed to find out about the whole drone situation about a year and a half ago over the East Coast, well, basically over the world. We were supposed to hear the truth about that. Okay, never did. Anyway, it's a crazy world and all these assassinations going on. Like I say, if Trump and Netanyahu or just Trump can say, you know what? I don't like what that world leader said to me. We're going to find a reason to go to war with him and we're going to kill him. Just remember, Trump, you're not protected then either. You're just as vulnerable to another country doing that to you, blowing Air Force One out of the sky or something, because you set the precedent. But the thing is, you get rid of one bad apple, the whole goddamn apple cart's full of bad apples. We need to run that whole apple cart down the hill on fire. He wants a ballroom. Oh, everybody, when you're writing your messages, all you trolls should know that Google's in here, YouTube's in here. They come into my live stream every once in a while. But that's good, YouTube. Sit there and you can moderate my channel tonight. See, this is one thing, YouTube. This is what you created. Because you've allowed this to happen for so long that you got these maniacs. You talk about community guidelines. I say the wrong word and I get a copyright, this, that, or the other thing. Boy, with my channel, I got strikes all the time. But you got these fools that come out here and flat out threaten my life, whether it be on this chat or in messages, and nothing, that's nothing. Really? Like all these people that threaten my life, come on out here. Because what I'm going to do first is I'm going to work you all fucking day. And if you still want to play after that, I'm going to kick your fucking ass. And then we'll get together and have a good time. But we'll solve the problem that day. Okay? We're not going to let it persist on and on. You ever come on my property and want to beef with me, I always say I'm a good scrapper. But this is where we come in this world. We all hate each other. We're all finding reasons to upset somebody. We don't want to get along. Okay, we got people that are in this country now are now mentally ill. I love how somebody who's mentally ill taking medication telling me how to be normal. Or I haven't gone to the doctor in a very long time, but over 20 years. But I could imagine going to the doctor, somebody my age, fat, out of shape, unhealthy, telling me how to be fucking healthy. I'll just continue doing what I'm doing. What about the beef in you? I'm a cowboy. So anyway, I wore a lot of hats. One thing about me and jobs, I got a college degree too, did that. Once you master it, and I'm not one that chases the dollar bill. Actually, I don't like middle class because you get punished for succeeding. But, I just like the quiet life. All right. But I get bored with the job after I mastered it and sitting in a cubicle. I couldn't do that for 20, 30 years. I grew up on the farm, and it just once I master something, I move on to something different. I don't really care how much it pays. That's not the big, oh my God, I took a job one time after I left my cubicle, went to work in the hog barns, and the guy's like, I can't even offer you close to what you're making right now. I said, I don't care. That job is about as pointless as can be. I think a lot of jobs that people make, you know, middle class wages on are worthless jobs, but AI is about to take all that out. Then he became a master batter. You know, like I say, all you guys on here, if all you can do is insults, is that your intelligent level? What you do, go to college and learn how to do insults? Because you failed. You failed. But then again, you know, betas couldn't just sit there and deal with what I've dealt with. But with this assassination stuff, you know, you got to make up your own mind. Was it real? Was it fake? You know, Trump's numbers are falling. Is this going to get him support again? I don't think so. Because you know what? Tomorrow's just around the corner, and tomorrow reality's going to hit everybody, okay? Just the way it is. But would a politician stage this to think he could save his career? I don't know. I don't know. It'd be a lot of people involved. But, you know, after that press conference they had, when they were all in their evening dress, their ballroom or dress, their tuxes and their dresses, and they're all smiling and stuff, that reaction seems a little disingenuous. But what do? You know, we're not allowed to have a gun to protect ourselves. That's got to be restricted. But hell, as long as Trump's got 1,000 guns protecting him, he's good to go. Anyway, Trump and Netanyahu, you're assassinating people all over the world. Don't be surprised when it comes knocking on your door. What comes around goes around. Do unto others as you want done unto you. Okay? Live by the sword, you die by the sword. There's a reason there's sayings for that. Okay? That's all I got for tonight. I'm going to get out of here. But I just want to make a live stream about this because Trump is an assassin. Him and Netanyahu assassinated, they admit it, they murdered, assassinated the Ayatollah. And they celebrated it and brag about it. That doesn't sit well with this American. Okay? And I have a hard time with people. Oh my God, Trump. The Ayatollah and the little 6-month-old girl and stuff. Fuck that, okay? We're better than that. But I would expect more of this, okay? A lot more of this. But what can you do? Is it staged? I don't know. Is it people that are really upset with Trump? Yeah. You know why? Because, like I say, we went to school. When I went to school, we had rifles and shotguns in our pickups in our rifle racks. Nobody took them in school and shot the fucking school. But then again, we didn't have all these damn pharmaceutical companies messing with kids and adults' minds because they're depressed. We don't. Anyway, we got mentally ill people there that are really upset and can't control their emotions. Me, I don't want these people fucking dead. Fuck that. I want them arrested, charged, and put on trial. All these Washington elites, and not given a sentence of death. Oh, no, that's too good for them. I want them to sit there and surround a mountain with a prison camp, a small mountain, and they get the best medical, give them a nice mattress. They got to work 6 days a week, 12 hours a day with a fucking tack hammer and turn that mountain into fucking dust. That's what I want for them. I want to give them time so they can repent. And maybe they'll go up to heaven if they repent. That's what I want for them. Where they might think death would be better. I believe they need to be punished down here on earth and up in heaven for what they've done. Anyway, the shooter was known to the FBI. Yeah, they're all known to the FBI. Yeah, it was nothing. Cash Patel, right? Hiding under the fucking table. God. Let me tell you something. You know, you think us Marines are crazy? We react. We run at shit. If you got a Marine, if a Walmart's getting shot up, the Marine is running at the sound of the bullets. And he's going to do something, Marines like me, he's going to do something to stop it. He's not going to think about it. He's just going to react. Okay? A normal reaction for a ground-pounding Marine is to take out the danger. And got Cash Patel hiding under the fucking table. Yeah, these are the beta males that are in charge, okay? But known to the FBI, they're all known to the FBI. You know, oh yeah, they knew about him, they knew about him. They know about a lot of people. All I know is we got a lot of sick fucking people here. And the thing is, Trump keeps pushing their fucking buttons. He doesn't let up at all. He cracks, you know, I'm a constitutional conservative. I voted for Trump, but I got kicked off the Trump train because I believe that the E-list wasn't a hoax. And then all the other shit that's going on that he didn't do. But, you know, him getting up there and teasing the fucking Democrats, yeah, that's bringing us together. Acting like a fucking elementary playground bully to the opposite side. But he's the uniter. They're all Americans. Their politics are different. And then most of these liberal Democrats are on brain-altering, mind-altering medications. They can't deal with their emotions. You know, I get angry at somebody. I don't go take it out on them. I go work, come home, and I work harder. I sit there and accomplish something. So I feel good and say, you know what? Just another person I feel sorry for because they're less of a person than me and they don't have the balls to sit there and become a better person. So they got to attack me. Free Palestine. We're in America. I really don't give a shit about Palestine. Okay? America's got too many fucking problems it is. Okay? I realize that a lot of the world's problems are because the U.S. won't stay out of other countries' fucking business, and the American patriot vets won't take our country back. So, you know, I guess the rest of the world's just going to have to deal with the fucking federal government just like we have to. Okay? But at least Iran's standing up to him now. Anyway, this Iranian thing sure has shown a lot of weaknesses in the American military. Like I say, we shot up almost 50%. They say 50% of our high-tech missiles and stuff in 40 days. What are we going to do when we go to war with China? That will last years. If we burn through fighting Iran in 40 days, almost 50% of our stockpile of high-dollar munitions. Like, say, the average American has no fucking clue. But believe me, there's people that are in Russia and China and in North Korea that are watching this intensely. Just picking out American weaknesses left and right, like I say. You know, they say we have air superiority in Iran. How do we know that? We don't fly over their land. We sit there and go up to their, just before we hit the land, and we shoot off a missile and the plane turns around. Plane don't even fly over Iranian territory. And we did see what happened when they tried. So anyway, but we can gay trolls like you fight for U.S. You know, what you do behind your fucking closed doors, I don't care. If the first thing you got to do when you meet me is tell me you're fucking gay, we're not going to get along. I have worked with gay people and stuff like that, but I never knew because it wasn't a big subject. They come up to me years later. If for some reason they feel they have to tell me. But I don't care. Okay? You're allowed to practice your rights just like everybody else, but you're not allowed to have special rights because you may have a mental illness. Okay? We're all Americans. We all have equal rights, no matter what you do behind your door. It's what you do in your privacy that when you want to bring it out and parade down the street with it, that's when it becomes the other Americans' problem. Okay? When you push your pursuit of happiness off on another American, you just became the fucking problem. And that's why most of us lone wolves and people that live here in flyover country, we just live our own lives. I don't want to know anything about anybody, and I don't want nobody to know anything about me. My own little quiet person out here. I live my hermit lifestyle, and nobody bothers me about it or gives me a hard time, and it works out great for me. Like I say, I enjoy freedom way over money. I was middle class once. Fuck that. Never again. Okay? You know, it's like when I played golf when I was in the Marine Corps. I belonged to the 18-hole golf course. Played golf all the time, right? And I wasn't all that good. I spent all that money chasing a little white ball that I really wasn't ever good at, okay? Just a waste, okay? And I'm not going to sit there and chase that almighty dollar bill that's worthless and give up any more of my time than I need to make just enough so I can sit there and get by every month. And what I get by on every month, you know, would be people's car payment and their insurance payment, okay? Living cheap isn't too bad. It's actually enjoyable. When you don't, you can pick your own schedule. Have a small business and make the money you need to make, and you get to spend a hell of a lot of time doing what you want, what America's about. It's one thing, I still live in traditional America. You don't have to lock the doors, don't take the keys out of your vehicle. 4 cops in the whole county, all sheriff and his 3 deputies, that's it. Anyway. And then you got to deal with DC that are just trying to create all sorts of fucking problems. Anyway, that's all I got for tonight. Like I said, I appreciate everybody being here. Please hit the thumbs up, the subscribe, and the bell notification. Check out my other content. I got over 2,000 videos, so that ought to make the trolls happy. You leave a bunch of comments, man. Help my analytics out. So anyway, and share it, okay? It's time. The time's coming where we're going to have to fix this problem. And I guess more people's just going to have to get their lives affected in a way where they're willing to sit there and put their life on the line to change it. You know, especially if you have kids and grandkids, that should be an easy decision these days. Anyway, like I say, appreciate everybody being here. And this is Tom with Hidden Truths. I'll see you next live stream. I'm out of here.